The day before the final dawn, day number 3 of the Summer Showdown. Rose, we're here in beautiful Toronto for another epic banger, potentially. Florida Mayhem taking on the London Spitfire for your second game of the day.
After such an incredible performance from the Toronto Defiant as well, we're just rolling into the next one. And I'm definitely expecting this one to be close. It's going to be a bloodbath, and the winner of this match will face Toronto. That's gotta feel, I don't know about that one.
Do you want to face Toronto after
Nervous.
what Hisu did in that game?
No.
Probably.
I don't think so.
But they're going to have to.
Yep.
Yeah, London Spitfire, of course, have quite a history with Toronto Defiant. We'll see if they do end up taking it to the Mayhem. But Mayhem have also been a fairly interesting team coming out of the qualifiers. They've shown us lots of different shades. However, it's been more meta, let's be real with ourselves. Nothing silly coming out from Checkmate just yet.
Well, it's been confidence related. You know, when Florida Mayhem ended up pulling out all of those flex picks from Checkmate and also that double flex support backline, it was because they didn't feel super confident against the Dallas Fuel. But because they have been playing more meta, I feel like they're feeling pretty good about themselves going into these next few matches. That's something to look out for, though. Do they go for those flex picks versus an opponent like the London Spitfire? Well,
let's see how confident they are looking. Please welcome to the stage the Florida Mayhem. Ooh. Potentially the happiest player in the league, standing in the center there in someone. One of the more animated players too. When on stage, when on camera, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's got the dance moves too.
He does.
It's pretty fun. I mean, this is a squad that finally get a chance to play together. We saw them have an impressive performance yesterday, and they're just going to kind of keep sticking with this. Or Majed finally getting a chance to play on LAN, and I feel like that confidence too is just going to continue forward as they get more and more synergistic and get used to the crowd that's here as well.
Yeah, especially if it's your first time playing on a big stage like this. It does hit a little different when you're back at home, I could assume, so I'm happy to see Sermajed on the stage, live in the flesh for the Florida Mayhem. They have been, especially in this kind of meta, they've been trying their own kind of thing. And it's actually something that Christopher said back when they were popularizing the Rush with the Rein and the Mei. It's like, you just got to play your own thing sometimes. You just have to play what your strengths will help you win. I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got a good Mei like Backbone, right, you want to run that with the Rush. Same with the Florida Mayhem here. They've had plenty of times, in the qualifiers at least, where they've played double flex support instead of the Brig and the Lucio.
But they've been playing the Brig and the Lucio a lot in their matches during this tournament, so I'm kind of expecting that they're going to come out on it again today, but I really wonder how that's going to fare when you look at just how aggressive Florida Mayhem play this game. How are London Spitfire going to adapt and adjust to be able to play against that? Because I'm seeing some remnants of Dallas Fuel in a team like the Florida Mayhem with that aggression.
Well, let's bring London on the stage. Are we going to get some more push-ups? I hope so. Maybe that's what gives him his strength. Please welcome the London Spitfire. Confidence just kind of oozes. Oh, there it is. The UK flag is back. Oh, okay.
Oh, it gets a dance.
Go on, Hardy.
Let's go, Hardy.
It's good to see London up on the stage, of course. Hardy, again, another player like exuding confidence right now, and you should do. London have kind of turned around. A lot of people didn't really have them high on their tier list coming into the season, and they've shown a lot of people up. Their Rein Rush with the Mei was crazy, and Hardy was speaking about it, and Christopher too, to be fair. Like, look, Junker Queen, you just run a gun still. I'm still running at you. I just got an axe instead of a giant hammer. But
we saw the quotes from Christopher. It's all about confidence. London Spitfire in this tournament have been playing just a little bit more passive when it comes to Admiral and Landon really focusing on support rather than the damage. But I feel like that's very different than how Florida Mayhem really approach this meta, which is just playing aggressive, playing fast. Yesterday for London Spitfire in their match, Sparker just got hard focused down. So for London today, their adjustment needs to be keeping Sparker alive and also, like Christopher said, playing with confidence. Gotta beat them in the middle.
Remember, the winner of this, like you said before, is facing Toronto in front of a home crowd later. So, yeah. If your confidence is low now, it best be getting up there because you might be in shambles later on. Florida Mayhem and the London Spitfire need to find a win right here, right now. We are so close to the final day. That's Sunday. We have the losers finals and the grand finals at the very end. And it all starts here. Can Mayhem or Spitfire continue their run?
The lower bracket is always such a tough place to be too, because you know that a loss and you are going home. So this definitely matters a lot. Got to get hydrated too. Love that. So I was just making sure that they are able to get to the game. But again, I'm looking at the backlines. How are they going to approach this? Are Admiral and Landon really going to play a bit more aggressive like we need them to? Backbone has been leading the charge in a lot of these matches for the London Spitfire. So we need to be able to see that follow-up from Admiral to make sure that aggression can be there. And I think that Florida as well, when you know that Backbone has been doing so much to engage with the Genji, I don't know if they can play as passive as a backline as the Zenyatta and the Ana.
Yeah, I mean, you look at aggressive backlines, you look at people like Twilight, which we just saw, how much he's in the kill feed. I mean, I think Mitch brought up a stat halfway through that series. Like, Twilight's got most of the final blows on the team for the Toronto Defiant. Like, you need to have your backline being as aggressive, if not more so sometimes. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit of bait yourself, and then maybe your DPS capitalize, right? And that's what you just got to say. You know, if I die, I'm just a bait. You guys got to clean up. I've made the space, okay? I know I'm a brig. I'm not supposed to be there to make space, but at the end of the day, the backline has to be solid right now, and that's been a bit of a question for the Mayhem, where they're going to go in terms of flex supports or the Lucio and the brig, but looks like they're shoring up on themselves, and they're more sure of themselves coming into this tournament. Like you said, confidence is key, and the Mayhem feels like every single time they play, they're getting more confident with it.
Yeah, especially when they feel good against their opponent as well. So that's why I'm looking at the back line. Do they feel like they can play that flex support, or are they just going to go with the classic of this meta so far? Oasis is going to be our first map of the day. This is London Spitfire's pick, as they are the higher seed in this matchup. But there's a question mark over that too. Florida Mayhem and London Spitfire actually played each other during the mid-season Madness tournament, and Florida did end up winning that one 2-0 on Oasis. So maybe London just kind of like sticking it to them a little bit.
Yeah, more often than not too, if you're feeling confident on a map, you're winning, that mapping kind of screams, you're like, oh, all results, they don't matter really, like, come on.
That's true.
If we're practicing this map a whole lot more, why wouldn't we run it? Can also aid to someone like a Backbone's Mei. He's currently hovering it. We'll see if he does change. Same with Checkmate, to be fair. This map infinitely better for the Mei. You don't want to go to like City Center or anything like that. University, way better for those ice walls. Looks like Backbone's going to roll out with it. Checkmate switching over to like Genji. Flexing just a little bit, but this is what we want to see. London Spitfire playing their own game.
Yeah, they're playing to their strengths right now, especially when Backbone has been so proficient. But the big thing for the London Spitfire here is if they want to play the Mei, they're going to have to take control of this point first. Because that's where Mei really shines, is when you get to play this defensive game and shut down these corridors that Florida Mayhem will want to try to come back and recontest the point with. So London, they got to cap first.
There's no way Florida Mayhem want to mess with the London Spitfire in that small health pack room. It's pretty easy to cut a lot of these routes in for someone to take. He is on the point now. Those little dag towards Backbone, hopefully dragging him towards him, forcing that ice block first up. RuPaul is extremely far forward. London Spitfire just run over him. What was RuPaul doing there? The Florida Mayhem lose their brig, as now the rest of London do push their way onto the point. Backbone already using the ice block, those icicles are hitting hard. Sermajet goes pretty low, and now someone, in fact, is alone, isolated. Florida Mayhem struggling to get too much done. However, Hydra does end up killing Backbone, but London control the point.
This is where London are going to shine now, right? Backbone, while he did go down, gets a chance to come back, and honestly, it was because of Backbone's wall that RuPaul got isolated and really kicked off this fight for the London Spitfire. RuPaul got very isolated from that, and the rest of the Florida Mayhem kind of walked away from that situation, let RuPaul sit there. But now we're looking at Backbone too. 64% towards that Blizzard already, and Admiral might be able to follow that up to play aggressive too with the...
London put a wall up. Sermajet, nowhere to be found. He eventually makes his way to someone. But can the heals come out in time? Look at London. The focus fire is just perfect. Someone once again cut off by Backbone. and then just charged out by the London Spitfire. Sparker ends up falling to Hydron, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but without a front line, Florida Mayhem are going to struggle. A deflecting the dash has already been used by Checkmate as he tries to open this up a little bit more, and now RuPaul's in trouble. Backbone walling off the supports once again, and Hardy playing bouncer in the front line as RuPaul ends up going down. A rally, in fact, is being used by London as the Florida Mayhem do manage to find that flip. Someone is back and receives a beat just in time, but it's actually pushed into the hole. And now the London can cap the point for free. You can't push onto it with the Blizzard, but someone was nowhere to be found. He fell into the pit.
Yeah, and that's where London Spitfire are going to go ahead and take that 5v4 so easily, because why not use that player advantage to your advantage? So someone, I mean, also gets denied a lot of this damage as well when someone has been doing so well in that stat department. And so Hadi just going to go ahead and outpace him a little bit there by 15% as Sparker's working up to that overclock too. You could use it as a zoning ultimate here, especially if Backbone's going to put up a Mei wall and stop you from being able to disengage.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hydro dies to Cheerios. There's the rally from the Florida Mayhem as Checkmate pulls the play. Land is the first one to fall as Checkmate tries to dash up to Sparker. He does find the kill, and a triple kill for Checkmate. That Dragon Blade truly sharp in the hands of the Genji. The Florida Mayhem do manage to wipe the Spitfire, kind of. Well, Hadi's going to escape. Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, okay, Landon's there to give him a pack. They do find the flip, but it did cost them a rally here. And it's 82% right now for London Spitfire.
Well, Checkmate's Blade as well. London Spitfire just didn't really have an answer to that, and Checkmate, of course, has been so sharp with those Dragon Blades, so you really do expect Florida Mayhem to win that out, but can someone get this Rampage online before Hadi goes in and plays with that confidence?
There's another wall. Someone knows it's behind him. He has to stay alive. He jumps into the pit again. It's not Leonidas that kicked him down, it's the Spitfire. Sparker ends up dying to Hydron. That's a few times in a row now that Hydron's managed to pick off the enemy soldier as London try and find the flip. A nice little Carnage swing. The bleed damage still goes on to Checkmate, and it's only aiding Hardy in healing him back up to full. Abrael finds another pick onto Hydron as London now control the point. 15% to go, and they'll take the first round.
I mean, that's a pretty big stagger for the Florida Mayhem. You have to wait to make sure that all of your team is there before you go in again, and it's going to be off the back of someone getting that Rampage. But Sir Majid already getting a little low. You're going to be taking resources away from RuPaul.
That wall is super early. In fact, Florida Mayhem can make it an advancement. Again, Sparker goes down. Hydron finding him in the 1v1 over and over again. Can London come back in this fight? Backbone is going pretty low, but he's 10% towards that Blizzard. A Rampage comes out, but someone actually gets booped. Still, it hits two people. It might just be good enough. Landon's popped the rally, but the bleed and the anti-heal is enough to sentence him to death as the Mayhem do end up capping.
You go, someone now playing with that confidence we wanted to see as well. The Rampage just is so good. And Landon's rally, he was already so low when it got activated, so that overhealth wasn't going to be enough to keep the London Spitfire alive. But this is last fight territory as we look at Florida Mayhem with so many ultimates in the bank. Let's see if they can capitalize, turn that into value. Checkmate, once again, has that blade online.
Blizzard available for Backbone, but Hydron's going hunting. Activating the ult. There's a lot of people in his sidelines, but they've all got that overhealth from the beats. The Blizzard's going to isolate someone, and Hydron comes up big yet again. Checkmate pulls the blade too. The DPS from the Florida Mayhem keeping this competitive as overtime is ticking down. The London Spitfire are nowhere to be found on this map. Hardy, no chance in hell you're surviving that one, son. Overtime ticking, and the Florida Mayhem are going to claim round one.
Good round number one here for Florida Mayhem. They did so well with Hydron and Checkmate's ults, but a pause coming through real quick.
I saved the round. So we lost that? Wait a second. Hang on a second, we had the Mei.
Pause check?
The cheating character.
Why do you think she's cheating now?
Because she creates terrain.
Well, you know what?
That's not fair.
That's
what other character can create terrain?
Okay, I think Sir Majid's going to be unhappy that you said that, because terrain actually helped out Florida Mayhem there.
That's true.
There were some really good sound barriers that Sir Majid was able to get actually on top of those Mei walls, and it was because of that height that Sir Majid was actually to decrease the latency of popping the sound barrier and then activating it, and that saved Florida Mayhem a lot in a lot of situations.
Well, that last fight, Backbone used the wall super early. Someone wasn't even on the other side of it. He was able to just back off, wait a little bit, you know, smack it with the axe, take down one of the pillars and then just run on in. You got to find those timings between the Mei putting up the wall and you being able to get through it, and then making sure she can't cycle the abilities. That's the best thing about the Mei. If you can stay alive and you can just cycle your abilities, they're just so strong that it's hard to really come back from. Looks like we are in a brief pause. Do apologize, but we should be getting into the game in just a moment.
I think something else that was really impressive from Florida Mayhem is their ability to adapt in that first round. They're actually, Hadi didn't have any deaths up until like the last 2 fights, where London Spitfire got like clean team fight killed. And I think that has a lot to do with how Florida Mayhem have identified some of those weaker points that they can exploit from the London Spitfire by going after Hadi and the backline.
Well, one of the big weaknesses I'm seeing right now is the Hydron versus Sparker head-to-head. Hydron is picking off Sparker every single team fight. I mean, you look at the damage done. Hydron's got about 5.5k damage. Sparker's sitting at 3.5k. There's a 2k damage disparity, which is humongous in a single round.
Well, I mean, it's actually both the DPS there on Florida. They just kind of went crazy in that first round. They have almost double the DPS total as Backbone and Sparker put together. So that's a huge difference maker as well. When you look at this meta and you look at DPS, maybe you have one specific player that pops off and maybe the rest of the team can't follow up on that, and that's where you get a little bit dicey. But Florida and London do a great job of doing so. But Hydron right there, this is why he's one of the best, considered one of the best Sojourn in the meta so far.
Yeah, 64% rail accuracy on University.
That's huge.
It's pretty big. Pretty big, and only 2 deaths, which is super important. Keeping uptime, keeping that damage going, and shutting Sparker down. I mean, you're looking at Hadi in this map to do most of that damage, like you said. With the Mei, you're not doing a ton of upfront, like you're spamming with the icicles, yeah, but you're not going to be out damaging a Genji or anything like that. So you're relying on Hadi to come up big. He's got 1,000 more damage than someone. We already round 1, to be fair. Looks like we are getting into the game in just a moment. Looks like Florida's ready, and Spitfire are ready too. There you go, I'm pausing. Okay, all good. You can't see that, I'm very aware, but trust me.
It's there.
In the
they
chat,
did say it.
It is there.
Let's go back.
And there we go. Okay, there's the round. It did end, and Florida got it, so there we go.
All right, well, we got University out of the way now, but now it really comes down to some of these more open maps. But hey, guess what? We're going to Gardens. So this is a lot about that high ground. Who can take that first? London actually hovering over the Genji instead. But oh my gosh, RuPaul actually frozen the Blizzard here. But the flail onto Sparker, wow, that was just like maximum range to get that flail and to hit that accuracy.
He stuck in the roof. He's stuck. He's good though.
What about the terrain here?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's unfair.
It's pretty good. Help RuPaul though, to be fair.
Well, yeah,
all
that's
right.
what I mean.
There we go. We're on the gate already. So Backbone's changed over to the Genji now. Doesn't want to play that Mei. A lot harder. And the high ground control
on this map.
is important. Like you mentioned, Rose. So London and Spitfire have taken full advantage of that. The push checkmate off already, but Hydron again. First blood stats must be off the chart right now. Sermajet even going a little bit aggressive, but with Backbone dead, London Spitfire, do they decide to commit to a 4-on-5 or do they back up? Looks like backing up. Since the control point wasn't even active, it makes the most sense. Just try and get back as soon as possible and re-engage.
Exactly. I mean, Backbone can use his dash to get back as well. Admiral can go for the taxi here, but Checkmate's just kind of playing doorkeeper as you see him in the window trying to get the shuriken damage to get that Dragon Blade online just a little bit faster. Funny enough, Backbone actually has a lot of damage here, but Backbone's got to stay alive. He's already taken a lot. Hadi 2 at half.
Looks like London Spitfire have spotted the nuisance in the back line, being Hydron, focusing a lot of attention towards him right now. However, Checkmate is the first to fall. Hydron still flying away. He could make this even if he lands a railgun shot. Backbone forces the rest of the Mayhem to back up. And now it's all about getting these stagger kills. Can London Spitfire stay as a 5? They cannot lose anybody here. No, good. Backbone does take down 2. Maybe one more. Sermajet dies. There's London and now in control.
That was really clean pincer as well. You saw that someone got trapped and then Backbone circled around to get the flank onto the Florida Mayhem. And so that was a really nice advantage that London could carve out. Now we're looking at those DPS ults. We're also looking at the support backline, but RuPaul already, with how much he's been putting in with these flails, is going to have that rally online to help the Florida Mayhem, but Checkmate already gets taken out.
Rally almost coming out for Landon now with that flail kill. I mean, Brigittes in this meta have gotten so good at using that whip shot. It's kind of insane. So it's nice to see like an evolution of a single character and how good people get with it. Or we saw Twilight earlier on, but Landon's doing as much damage right now with that flail, either getting kills or like booping the Junk Queen away or the Genji.
That's what you got to do with that cooldown kit. But it's time for Florida to come back into this one.
Checkmate's actually on the flank. He has been spotted, and with no ult and no over health, by the way. Surmashed laid down that beat, but Checkmate didn't get any of it, so Sparker cleans up with ease. A later double support ultimate from the London Spitfire is just going to aid them in cleaning up this fight. Both Florida Mayhem supports used the ult, but Checkmate was just on an island, completely isolated, didn't receive any of that overhealth from the rally or the beat.
Yeah, and that's really going to set him behind in the pace of getting these Dragon Blades online too. He's still sitting at 75%, whereas Backbone pulled the blade and is also at 30% charge. Both the teams, though, did use the double support ultimate, so Rally and Sound Barrier now off the board. But we're looking at the Rampage now, Hadi, and we also don't have much time left.
There's only 10 seconds to go. Hardy setting up something big. Someone 25% away from his own Rally. Rally's podged by Hardy instantly. RuPaul bites the dust. Hydron, though the savior, the Florida Mayhem takes down Landon, but now it's up to the Blades. Checkmate, if he survives long enough, he might be able to do it, but OT is here. A nice headshot by Sparker takes down someone. The Blade has been pulled by Checkmate, but little to no backup is found. The London Spitfire will claim round 2.
All right, evening up just a little bit, and I gotta call out the fact that Backbone got a huge deflect kill. As Hydron popped the overclock, it just got sent right back at him. And London, that looked way cleaner from them. They was very back and forth on University when Backbone was playing the Mei, but this time around, it felt like we were really looking at how did you get those ultimates online, the rotation that you were able to get from that as well. And London just kind of outpaced Florida there when they were really focusing on the backline.
Oh, this was, yeah, this got to be the reflect kill. Giving Hydron a taste of his own medicine. Like I mentioned, just there.
There it is.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I mean, that's nasty. That is nasty. Sometimes you're like timing the deflect, right? For like a Widow or an Ashe or whatever.
Exactly.
Or a Sojo when hitting the right click, and yeah, you just mistime it. You're gonna get taken out. Hydron's been putting up numbers, but this is something we've seen before, Rose. Yeah, Hydron going over to the Tracer in City Center.
We have seen this on City Center from Florida Mayhem from this stage as well, so this is not something new for Florida. Hydron is actually able to control this territory by utilizing these health packs, taking them away from flankers like Backbone and Sparker. And so when you do remove that, and Tracer also has kind of an insta-heal button with the rewind, that's going to be something that London Spitfire are going to have to look out for, adjust to. Yeah, more packs for the rest of your team too. A little bit more self-sufficient is the Tracer. Hydron hits that recall, and now he's just trying to badger the backline. Landon Admiral just unfazed at this point, but Sparker unfortunately ends up going down. And I think that must have been a body shot from someone. Instant reset from Checkmate. He picks up a couple of kills, and now the London Spitfire gonna have to go once more. A team kill for the Florida Mayhem, as Hydron looking like he's going to get the first ultimate online of the round in that Pulse. Well, something that I love about Florida Mayhem running the Tracer and the Genji as well is that Florida has always been a great dive team. Someone on the Winston does get a chance to play a little bit more aggressively, so Hydron and Checkmate are very comfortable being able to play this Tracer and the Genji together. So you'll see Hydron go in, get some nice damage in with the Pulse Pistols, and Checkmate following that up. All right, Backbone has spotted RuPaul, who's gone pretty low. Hydron already used that recall, but he still has a Pulse Bomb in his back pocket. RuPaul the target for London. Checkmate falls. Hydron still maybe looking for an opening. Pulse Bomb, no, pancakes on the ground, and Landon with another whip shot kill and a little teabag as well as he takes down Hydron. All right. We're going to see Surmajik get away from this one. But the Pulse Bomb off the board. London Spitfire winning that out in the neutral. They get to hold on to all of these ultimates. But Rally, Sound Barrier for London versus the Sound Barrier from Florida. Surmajik might have to save this for Backbone's Blade. That's almost online. Same with Checkmate. It's gonna be a lot of ultimates here in this next fight. It definitely will be. Oh, Checkmate already goes low. Has to use the dash to get away. Deflects down for both Genjis as the London Spitfire just back up just a little bit. Hydron recalled off to the side, so yeah, he's out of the fight for just a moment. Has to wait for his team to create the space so he can
harass the backline a little bit more. Blade has been pulled. Admiral drops the beat. Still a lot of damage done by Checkmate, but he's getting chased away. Another beat, this time in Florida Mayhem's favor as they activate that late rally. Land is still holding on to his, but eventually pops it as Backbone pops a blade of his own. A little bit more effective, though, in the hands of Backbone and Hardy, as they do clean up the Mayhem. Checkmate falls and London Spitfire, they're going to hold on for the time being. 60% now.
It's been so back and forth, but all that stall as well from Florida did at least get them 34%. But London, they still have that overclock from Sparker to use, and that's the one thing about that Sojourn versus Tracers. The Tracer's really good at being annoying, but unless you have that Pulse Bomb online, there's not a whole lot of reason for you to be able to get these one-shot kills like Sparker might be able to.
Yeah, London's actually playing all the way up. Meanwhile, Hydrogen capping that point. A 4-man anti from someone is good, but can they follow up with any meaningful damage? Sparker popping the overclock. London health bar still extremely low as Hydron tries to go for another pulse, but no. Sparker just slips through him like butter on a hot pan, but someone ends up going down to a body shot of Sparker. 95% and building as a rampage is used by Hardy to clean up the Mayhem once again. Hydron's not really seen any action in this fight. He's going to be able to recharge yet again, but no, in fact, he's not. Hits the lift, but the London Spitfire are going to claim round one.
Was that a big flail from the Brig? It might have been to just kind of boop him into the elevator, but what a smart round here from London. It's been very back and forth here, but I don't know about these kind of niche picks that both of these teams have been bringing out. We saw the Mei from Backbone on University, and then we saw the Tracer from Hydron on City Center, and it just felt like it was a little bit off kilter for both teams.
London Spitfire off to a good start. Pretty close though, like you were saying, Rose. 2-1 on control, but map point for London Spitfire. Mayhem's pick, going to hybrid after this.
Getting the win is everything.
It's going to be a banger of a series.
One of these teams is going to be taking the first loss. Ashe for Ashe, Genji for Genji, Brigand Lucio for Brigand Lucio, and of course, Junker Queen for Junker Queen. But the Rampage comes in, it catches almost every single member of the team. That wasn't a recontest, that was a massacre. FT God drops the B and it gets cancelled. The boop. And then it's a shooting gallery for Shockwave, being able to try and find that bar. Nanaburst now comes through, doesn't even need balance.
Mercy midair, what can't this man do? Xrith is going off right now, but he gets slept again from Ekbrath. Once again, Moxie. Definitely a star and a player in contenders. Shockwave finds Dala. Shockwave finds Sana, so that's already 2 on the Graffin as well. 3, make it 4. Why not, Shockwave? Show how good you are, buddy. And Yazan can't find him. Then no, he's killed by Psycho. That's popping a blade. Yoko is going to go down to the jagged blade of Twals. These Twisted Minds weren't ready for, but they still pop the rally. I think they're going to win this fight. But Yoko! And of course, he hits us with the emote as well.
London are up a map against the Florida Mayhem. They need this win to stay in the tournament. Lower bracket, Rose, like you were saying, a tough beast. And when you come off of a rough time earlier on I guess not in the qualifiers, but you know, sneaking in at 8th place is pretty rough. But you try your own thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Hydron's Tracer on City Center. A couple of missed pulse bombs here and there, but we're going onto a map that they're a little bit more familiar with, playing their own kind of style. We are going to Midtown, which is where predominantly they do play that double flex.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot. I mean, there's some really nice places where that Zenyatta and the Ana can defend themselves, especially when we're on the defense. So you're expecting, you know, that they will be able to play back a little bit more. So we'll see whether or not Florida really want to go with that double flex support.
Yeah, London off to a good start though. I did see on social media, on the Florida Mayhem Twitter account, with Moby Dick in the circle, in their little huddle, saying you need to beat London, and then you tell us how to beat London. Good deal.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal. See if it ends up panning out that way. All right, Midtown is here. We are seeing Florida Mayhem on the attack first. London Spitfire on defense. Hardy's been looking good though. Someone didn't really have the same impact as we've seen him have on the Junker Queen in recent times. But London, and you mentioned it, the confidence is really there. It feels like London, when they do get going, it feels like sometimes a bit of a slower start. We've seen Backbone's Genji at the very beginning of this meta be very slow. They switch to Mei, then back to the Genji, and it's a snowball from there on. London really do get stronger the more time they spend in the qualifiers, and then when they hit that tournament, they do feel like an unstoppable beast. But you know, Dallas Fuel and Shock have got something to say about that, that's for sure.
Well, I think when you look at Backbone's Genji as well, we've seen this throughout a lot of the series that we've had in the Summer Showdown, where Backbone just gets better and better. He takes a little bit sometimes to ramp up through these maps, but now that he's kind of had that practice and that warm-up on the Mei and the Genji, you know those projectile shots do be hitting. But Florida right now, we're not going to see the double flex support yet. It does fare a little bit better on the defense. Really, right now, it's about rushing it down mid and seeing how they fare against this defense. London, though, we're going to look at Sparker to see if he can get an opening pick, but it's been Hydron most of the time getting those first bloods.
Yeah, Hydron's definitely had the better of Sparker in the 1v1. We'll see if London allow a free rotation for the Florida Mayhem. Currently just in the washroom. Looks like Sparker wants to speak. He's already got 100 charge. Ooh, narrowly missing the Brigitte's head. But, well, Hardy's in there. And he's got a giant axe. Checkmate stood in front of that one. Cleaved him in half. All right, with one person down, we'll see if London just want to pile it on a little bit. Oh, Hydron using the dash too. Yeah, Backbone with a little bit of free damage. They can also attempt to spawn camp someone maybe, or checkmate maybe. No, here's the push. It's what you want to see, just playing at your own tempo. Hardy takes down someone, so much shed. Yeah, it's all over in this room. You just want to go for the reset, as much ult charge as possible. Oh, Rip, how does Landon die there? Not sure, but you have a Lucio, so you'll get back in just a moment. You can see Admiral going for the tax.
Exactly. I mean, this was a big stagger too. London Spitfire played that so well when they got the initial pick onto Checkmate. They just kind of stalled out Florida Mayhem until they saw Checkmate come approaching back into the fight, and then went for some of those kills. Sparker, though, has got to be really careful. Really does want to try to get those railgun shots, but if you peek out too much, then Hydron might be able to get that charge and take your head off. But similar approach this time around for Florida. They're going to go right back to the washroom.
Yes, they are. See Backbone with an incredibly aggressive dash into the Florida Mayhem just then. Dash backwards there. He's got himself a blade already. Checkmate's 50% away from his. They're just going to go now. Why not? Commanding shouts to boost his health bar just a little bit. And yeah, London Spitfire taking this in stride. Nice little slide away from Hydra. If he can find a pick, he does. He kills Admiral, but it is a Lucio, so he's going to get back rather fast. Florida Mayhem unable to open this one up.
And it's been half of the time bank already, so they really got to start building up to these ultimates. They do have 4. Checkmate will get that Dragon Blade online once they start moving back into this fight, but they can play a little bit aggressively. Now that Backbone has used the Dragon Blade, you're not really saving that Lucio sound barrier much more to be able to contest with that, so that just might be the sustainability. That might just be the extra edge that Florida Mayhem needs to crack this open.
This ends now.
All right, another ult. This time is Hydron with the railgun. Once again, takes out Sparker. Hardy trying to be the savior, but the beat from Florida Mayhem is going to stop that anti from doing too much. Still, the Florida Mayhem are playing back as they want to help Rupal stay alive and build up that overhealth with the rally. London's got one of them going themselves as they are split up just a little bit. Backbone still trying to get into the fight, help Hardy out in the front line. With a commanding shout, Hardy tries to get back to the rest of his team, but is unable to do so. There's the blade from Checkmate. Not really needed, maybe, but still cleaning up and getting the payload going is what's important right now. Admiral trying to get out, he doesn't, and the Florida Mayhem have cracked this one open.
Yeah, I mean, Admiral, if he had gotten out, maybe would have been able to get London Spitfire back in for a recontest, but Florida Mayhem gonna take this first point, but not without some pretty big ultimate usage there. Someone does hold on to the Rampage, so that's a great way to keep this momentum going as soon as you get that payload unlocked. Look at how aggressive they're going to go here to be able to make sure that London Spitfire can't get set up. Yep,
they want to play their own tempo. Just got to stop Hydron getting an angle, really, right? Otherwise, it might just be a flat hit. Big. Oh, it still does look the bleed damage, just not the initial damage of the axe swing. Uh-oh. Breakdown for Mayhem. And there's the Rampage. That was... What? He bent that like a bullet from Wanted. Around the corner. 5-man anti from someone. The London Spitfire. Just don't know what hit him.
Huge Rampage. And two, they were kind of just lined up perfectly for someone as well. When you're right at the gates, right at the doors, now you can kind of spawn camp the London Spitfire. Florida really making quick work of the second objective, and they need to. I mean, London Spitfire had bought a lot of time off of the board on that defense. They do get a chance to get set back up on the high ground here, but Florida, they can just kind of play under the cart, go through the car wash. Time for the blade.
Backbone. He's still kind of lapping Checkmate and blade build up. There's a lot of damage. The commanding shout was actually good enough to stop the backline from going down. Someone not quite so lucky as he was isolated on the point. London Spitfire is so good at capitalizing on the space created by almost any ultimate.
Yeah, but when you're looking at the Dragon Blade being used and not really utilizing the support ultimates on the Florida Mayhem to contest with that, you get a chance to use those a bit more aggressively. Now that Hydron has taken out Backbone, you can go in and use this rally, use this sound barrier, push London Spitfire back and create that space.
I mean, Hydron just sliding up the stage right now. He's the one person on Florida Mayhem finding a lot of these initial first bloods. London Spitfire backing up. Double support all available as the Florida Mayhem use their rally, so they wait for that overhealth to fade away. I mean, it's basically all gone. Summer just got a little bit, Rupal's got a little bit, but here you go. You see how London want to approach. They use a rally early on. Checkmate's nearing that blade, but Hydron, as soon as he got that overclock, he pops it. He's on the high ground. London got a cower, but maybe not for long. The beat from Admiral's going to push Hydron down to the low ground as he's still trying to find an entrance into this fight. A later beat from Surma Shed is good, but now Hydron's health bar's falling pretty damn low. He's been isolated, but his team is still finding kills. The blade from Checkmate is decent, but he's still trying to go for the Junker Queen. He's just getting booped around as Admiral finds 2 kills in that fight. And with 40 seconds to go, the Florida Mayhem a few meters away from capping point B, but they've now got no ults in the tank.
I mean, someone's going to be the closest one on Florida Mayhem to get that Rampage back, but if he can, it could be another huge anti to open up this second point and allow Florida Mayhem to capture. But it is coming down to the wire. If London Spitfire get a pick here, it's all over for Florida. They've got to make this count as they meet them on the high ground.
Florida are rushing through that small room on the left. There's 10 seconds to go and the payload is gradually moving back. You've got to be able to touch, but London is just going to force them. They're going to boot them away. Someone is on the payload right now, so it's a 4v5 in this small room. It is the Genji on the point, but look how split everybody is. Hydron is super low, only getting healed by Summershed. Don't touch the payload! Oh, London! Oh, a classic C9. They went too aggressive in the little theater there. As 3 members from the Mayhem just beelined into the point. London hoping they could maybe finish off the 2 remaining members of the Mayhem and then get to the payload in time, but no, Florida Mayhem managed to C9 London.
I mean, as soon as Checkmate was approaching that second objective, Backbone was just too low to be able to go in and contest for long enough for somebody else from Spitfire to join him. But that does buy us another life here for Florida as they start to approach this 3rd objective, but they do have less than a minute remaining. Someone has that Rampage, though, is a little bit low. Can he stay alive
Just
here?
one shot. What, Backbone sees that, takes that for free. One more attempt for the Florida Mayhem. Got that rally beat coming up. Even Junker Queen ult, but the London Spitfire playing so close to the spawn doors.
Well, they gotta take an eco
Backbone's
push here.
in. Holy,
Going for the Dragon Blade, maybe? Spawn camp?
How do you survive that? I don't know. 25 seconds to go. They're in the showroom because they're struggling to get out of these doors. There's the blade from Backbone as Hydron is the first victim. There's 17 seconds now as the rally and the beat are used by the Florida Mayhem. Remember, they're still stuck in this room. London is just booping them back.
They're just
London have
them.
the beat in their back pocket. There's 2 rampages coming up. It's all on the Junker Queen. Who is crowned? I'm not sure. Someone has to touch the payload. Florida Mayhem managed to get there in time, but London, they're not in danger of a C9 now. It's just extra meterage for the Mayhem as Checkmate puts himself on the points. A rampage from Halley to get back in time as the London Spitfire hold it just after the 2nd point.
At least they were able to clean up after that. But at least, and they also know where that line in the sand has been drawn. But is this where Florida Mayhem get to bring out the spice a little bit when they do switch over to the defense? Do we get a chance to see that double flex support that has been so good and successful for the Florida Mayhem so far?
See Hydron's keyboard almost falling off the desk. I've seen them like the other way around, but it looked like it was falling off the desk there.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's good for your wrist.
It's good for your wrist.
Closer.
Well, it's good for his damage, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's true.
1,000 more damage than Sparker right now. 4 final blows to just a singular final blow for Sparker. So pretty good for Hydron still.
Yeah, but the Junker Queen damage per 10. I mean, despite that someone has been able to convert those Rampage ultimates over to value, Hadi is leading in the damage right now, 9,300 per 10 to 8,700 per 10. And Landon, we can't forget about this Mad Lad right now. Don't fight a Brig in a tiny room.
Oh, he do be swinging. Yeah. We'll take that 4 kills. We'll take that 4 kills. Maybe that's why Sparker's only got 1 final blow, because Landon's taken them all.
I think actually Landon's taking them all. There it is. There it is on the defense. This is what we were expecting. Sir Majed and RuPaul playing that Zenyatta and the Ana, and they get a chance to play a little bit farther back. We see those Orbs of Discord from Sir Majed able to amplify that damage coming in from Hydron and Checkmate. And when they've been doing so well in that department, we would just call out that Hydron versus Sparker stat. That could be another big way for Florida Mayhem to keep London Spitfire from winning this map.
A bit more of a slower comp though. London Spitfire going to take full advantage of that. They see Sir Majed in a small little choke point. Still doing a fair bit of damage. Sir Majed's aim, especially on the Zen, pretty damn cracked. London just have to wait for these speed boosts. The Commanding Shout and the Lucio speed boost is the tools that they need to use to get on top of Sir Majed. But Sparker, well, okay, you don't need speed when you can just click on people's heads. 2 quick kills for the Sojourn, and a quick point A cap too.
This is a little bit of the risk that you accumulate when you play the Zenyatta and the Ana, which is that you do have that slower comp like you mentioned, but you can also get run over if you have Backbone and Admiral chase down that backline. So Sirmaj and RuPaul, they do have to be a little bit careful. They're gonna go ahead and take that high ground presence as the payload gets unlocked and starts to get moving. RuPaul, though, really needs to get up to this nano boost, maybe amplify someone, protect Sirmaj, and maybe go in for some kicks. Do that leg workout.
Yeah, you can peel for yourself. That is true. That is very true. It's a bit tougher though, as if you have 3 people on top of you like this comp likes to do, I think you're pretty much dead, even with that 25 additional HP.
But yeah, look at the poke that someone is kind of allowing RuPaul to get that charge off of. The nano boost is going to come up really quickly here, and then Checkmate's Blade too. Yeah. That could be the combo they need.
They could nano Blade, or they could just nano someone who's in the front line going pretty low. He's 1% away from the nano, but he ends up going down to Landon. A 3-man anti from the Ana, but under Spitfire, more than happy to take that.
Well, you gotta get a quick disengage in here if you're the Florida Mayhem, because without that frontline presence of someone, you don't stand a chance against Hadi and Landon when they have that available to them. With that break too, you just get all that inspired healing and then you're kind of unstoppable. So Florida have to wait, but someone is back, and this Nano Blade is ready to go.
Do they Nano Blade or they just nano someone? In a small room like this, maybe Checkmate doesn't even need the nano. He gets some follow-up from someone's axe. London just happens to play on the high ground like, oh! That must have been a body shot from Hydron there, a couple of extra shurikens. I think London aren't too fast. You still got 4 minutes in the time bank, mind you. Quick reset, as long as you don't go down now.
Well, they're not overextending, but what they're doing is they're trying to kind of keep the pressure onto Florida Mayhem, maybe try to get that Dragon Blade and that Nano Boost out of Florida, because they want to go in and overwhelm with their ultimates. That's something that London Spitfire is very good at, is forcing out ultimates from the enemy team and then using that ultimate advantage. But rally first from Landon.
There's the rally, there's the nano. It's on to someone, not Checkmate, who jump on board with Checkmate, who goes 5 HP. He's got the orb, but can he survive? No, he cannot. Someone doing a fair bit of work in the front line, but now they're gonna have to rely on Hydron. Getting headshots with the overclock, not gonna happen. Even Sirmaj Ed's Transcendence used to try and keep the front line alive, but London unrelenting in their assault on this point B. And look at that blue box of victory. It's so close. Florida Mayhem need to back up now and reset.
I mean, if they get staggered here, it could be all over. London right now do get a really clean team wipe. And they also have 4.5 minutes to be able to approach that box. You're going to see London get very aggressive here. Hadi has the rampage. He could stop Florida Mayhem at the doors. Look at they're on the high ground. They're gonna try to just drop on them.
Yeah, Sirmaj Ed and RuPaul back on the Brig and the Lucio. Hydron is pretty low. They need to be able to touch. Don't you dare C9. 0.69 meters to go. As the Brig on Mayhem have already fallen. London Spitfire soaring high as they take yet another map. 2-0 against the Florida Mayhem. Rosette 1 map away from getting that rematch against the Toronto Defiant a little bit later on.
Oh, I know Toronto Defiant want that revenge too, so maybe they are hoping for that matchup once again. But even despite the double flex support, maybe pulling out some of these pocket picks, Florida Mayhem are still struggling to get themselves on the board.
I mean, a lot of that's been on Hydron getting those first kills with the Sojourn. It's just not worked out. Different pace the London Spitfire is setting right now. They know if they come into this with confidence, take down the Florida Mayhem, they can take down the Toronto Defiant a little bit later on.
Rush them down.
That's a potential. We'll have to wait and see. Map number 3 on your screens in just a moment. We'll see where we want to go for Escort. Show off some of your art during the Summer Showdown. Share your art celebrating the summer vibes and the Summer Showdown tournament as a whole for a chance to be featured on the broadcast and the fan art gallery. Head over to overwatchleague.com/art-gallery to find out how you do so. All right, London Spitfire, 2 maps up already. They're about 1 map away. 1 map away roughly. Maybe a draw in there, maybe not. We're going to Escort, a bit harder to do that. But they're looking like they want a rematch against Toronto Defiant a little bit later on today.
I think they do. I mean, it's been twice now that London Spitfire, like kind of back-to-back, have went 3-1 versus Toronto. But Toronto, that also means that they've got some practice.
They want to make it a 3-peat is what they want to do.
I guess so, but
Knock them out in front of the home crowd, maybe?
Oh, that's going to make them, like, public enemy #1.
Maybe they want to be that.
Maybe.
Maybe they want to be the villains.
I mean, Florida, though, they got to get back into this one. They're going to take us to Gibraltar, which is one of the maps that they have the most experience on. They're 7-4 right now during the regular season on this map, and London only played it like 6 times. So it's a little bit rougher, I think, for London. I mean, it's not been a map they've been classically known for. I think Hadi, especially at the beginning of the season, struggled a little bit on the Winston to kind of get that rolling. And someone has definitely been able to take teams to town with a Winston of his own. Obviously playing a different meta, so Junker Queen does play a bit differently on this map, but you can still come out with those cheeky strategies with the Zenyatta and the Ana if you are Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, you can definitely play that on the defense. Florida Mayhem on the offense can do that too. To wait and see if they've got anything up their sleeve, because right now they need Summit, because they're down 2 maps. And maybe that's something he's putting the back line back on the Zenyatta and Ana. I think, well, from what we're seeing right now, Spitfire just want to run the same old. See what Florida want to do out of the gate. But this map hasn't been played that much at all. Like,
this is the first time we're seeing it in this both tournament, literally both sides.
Yep.
Both West and East. We haven't seen any Gibraltar yet. So who knows how this one's going to go. But one of the reasons that Florida Mayhem can pick this map too is that Hydron has been so set up for success with these longer sight lines, being kind of a sniper specialist as well. He can definitely play to his own strengths of getting those one-shots, charging up those railguns, and obviously clicking heads. He's still been putting up some really impressive stats here for Florida. It's just about Florida Mayhem kind of continuing to capitalize on that damage output from both Hydron and Checkmate. Makes sense that they're going to come out with the same old on the attack.
What you got for us, Mayhem? Should be a little bit easier to get it under the car wash. It's just getting out of it is the main problem. Trap shot does affect. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I was going to say trap shot, but Railgun does that too. Nice little kill on just Majed. Trap shot, especially in those small choke points under the little car wash near the payload, it's pretty tough to kind of navigate around. London Spitfire more than happy to let it push a little bit. Oh, Summerjed's back. Oh, what a boop! Can they get him? Oh, they can! Wow, what a boop from Landon. Stops Summerjed regrouping with his team. However, London still need to pay attention to the point. Hydron does end up falling, and now a 2v5 on top of that payload. Someone takes care of Sparker, but he's now all alone. London just clean house.
It's really rough that for Florida that London are putting so much focus onto Sir Majed. Not only does that remove Florida's ability to disengage, but it also staggers them out so that they're constantly taking these 4v5s. London as well, just kind of rushing at their opponent. They're so good at isolation, and so they'll go after just one person at a time here. Hydron's got to be really careful on that high ground, really can't peek their head out too much. Has to wait for some healing to come through, but it's time to meet on the high ground here as Florida make the approach.
Yeah, different approach for the Florida Mayhem. Still, they're taking a fair bit of chunk damage. Oh, Backbone almost gets one shot, does dash away in time and gets a health pack from Landon. Hydron's in a good position of his own. Dashes out the way, that power slide saving his bacon. As Backbone gets taken out by Sir Majed. 2 people from Florida Mayhem currently on at that point. London have to approach now with a player down. Backbone coming back with 10% towards that blade. And now London Spitfire lose their other DPS. I mean, the Genji's back in a couple of seconds, but you're still fighting a 4-on-5. Make that a 1-on-5 as Backbone is just going to die on the point. Florida Mayhem, okay, they unlock the doors.
There you go, with quite a bit of time as well. It was a really kind of risky play there for a couple of those first team fights, but Getting nice and aggressive now, really forcing London Spitfire back and also trying to make sure that they've got those ultimates online. Samajed still trailing behind just a little bit, and that's a testament to how he was taken out for those first few team fights. But RuPaul can just kind of go into this one with the rally available. It's going to be rally on rally here, all about that overhealth. And Backbone just going in early.
There's the play from Backbone. Hydron was trying to slide off the lip of the ship there. Nice little pull dagger, actually, onto someone who's been booped off. Pretty low. Nice clean up from Hardy. And we now approach watch point second. Oh, yes, Gibraltar second. Everybody loves attack at this point in the map. It's not really changed.
Well, it's tough, too, when London Spitfire just won that first fight, so they get a chance to set up on that spaceship in the hangar. And they only had to use the Blade here. Blade for Rally, pretty good trade if you're able to win that one out and hold on to your double support ultimates.
Aggressive push by Hydron and Checkmate, but no. Checkmate ends up pulling the Blade, chasing after the Brig. He's high in the sky, but Landon gets that beat just in time. Checkmate still with a lot of overhealth from Surmajed's beat. A Rampage from Hardy is decent, but someone tries to follow up with one of his own. Admiral and Hardy anti-naded as Backbone trying to focus his attention towards that Brig. RuPaul does fall, and a rather scrappy fight on the floor does end up with London pressuring out Florida Mayhem again. An expensive fight on both sides.
There was actually so many ultimates there. Florida used almost a full slate, having used this rally kind of in that first engagement to try to deal with Backbone's Blade. That was 4 ults to no avail. They still have 2.5 minutes, so they will be able to get some of these online, but it's about fighting in the neutral. If they can win out some of those fights, maybe they get their ultimate economy back, but as of right now, they're going to have to take some eco pushes here.
All right, Sparker with the only ult online. That overclock. Oh, Backbone's going incredibly aggressive. Double pack. No, not quite quick enough is landed. London Spitfire lose a DPS. Can Sparker keep him alive on this point? Hardy, I think, is behind them at this. Yeah, Hardy is behind them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Just London things, I guess. Hydra takes down Sparker, but someone fighting in this small room is Hardy just swinging the axe. It's a 2v2. Make it a 3-on-1 as Checkmate runs over Hardy. Backbone comes back, a little bit of revenge on Checkmate, but still Florida Mayhem struggling to get this payload going. They eventually kill the London Spitfire, but high ground's not going to be theirs just yet.
And because of how aggressive London Spitfire took that fight, look how far back that payload ended up moving. So someone will be able to start getting that forward, but not before London Spitfire come back in for a recontest. And last time when we had that rally on the Florida Mayhem side versus the Blade from Backbone, that did go the way of the London Spitfire. London can't go into this small room though, or they give insurmountable value to RuPaul's rally.
Oh, Hydron trying to look up to the skies there, looking for Backbone. He actually gets sniped by Sparker. Backbone has pulled the Blade as that payload was just continuing to move, despite London Spitfire trying to put pressure on the front line of the Florida Mayhem. A nice anti there by Hardy. A 4-man, in fact, as RuPaul and Surmajed just trying to run as fast as they possibly can. Hardy comes up clutch. 45 seconds to go for the Florida Mayhem to get point B.
This is dire, too. I mean, Landon and Admiral still have both of their support ultimates online versus Checkmate's Blade. And with this being 35 seconds remaining, this is last fight. Florida are going to have to get there, but London Spitfire meeting them at those doors might not let them through. They're taking so much poke. That's at least going to give Surmajed the Lucio the sound barrier.
A lot of ults coming online for the Florida Mayhem. Hardy used their Rampage fairly early on. And look at the pressure Sparker's putting on the front line right now. Or the back line, I should say. Blade's been popped by Checkmate, and Hydra takes care of Landon. The payload still needs to be touched. There's a couple of seconds to go. It is now contested, so overtime will trigger. Hardy takes down Checkmate somehow, some way. That Rampage from someone just rings through the ears of the London Spitfire. Admiral is back on the point, but no. Florida Mayhem do manage to boop him away in time as they cap second by the skin of their teeth.
They got it, though. That's all that matters. That is all that matters right now. Florida were able to buy enough time to make good use of that 35 seconds that they had left. They got a ton of ultimates online. They did have to throw 3 of them at that fight, but someone was able to carve out such a nice opportunity. Now that cart, though, they've got a minute remaining. Can they push this all the way to the end? It's not really also on the board for either team except for the sound barrier for Florida. Do they save it for Backbone's Blade, or do they just go in aggressive with it?
There's definitely going to be a couple of fights at least. I mean, London Have a kind of a close spawn. Oh, Landon going aggressive straight onto the face of someone there, trying to bump his chest a little bit. Oh, Sparker fight. Starts out the fight well for London. Take care of Hydron, but London, Florida no. They only have a single fight left. They get staggered here, could be bad, but London are doing what they do best, just playing up to the spawn in these times of need. There's 30 seconds to go and Florida have to push past them.
But London Spitfire, they've been keeping track of everything. They can't just go in aggressively with the Dragon Blade because they will get met with 2 support ultimates on the side of Florida Mayhem. They also don't want to give too much poke damage to Florida either. So have to give up a little bit of space to get something in return. But that Blade now ready to go. Backbone going in.
Look at London just ignoring Checkmate completely. Backbone taken to the skies as Checkmate takes care of Sparker. You've got to look behind you at all times, it feels like, if Checkmate's in the server. He takes care of Backbone too. The London Spitfire with no DPS left. And the Florida Mayhem have that rally building in that small room. Checkmate comes up big as overtime has been triggered. London Spitfire are going to be able to get back in time, but what else they have? Not looking like many.
No, I mean, Hadi might not even get the Rampage either. Someone's at the door, just wants to try to go in and keep them from touching the card.
Sermashed has beat, Admiral gets moved away, and the Florida Mayhem managed to complete. They may have 0 time on the clock, but a completion is good enough for the moment.
Definitely good enough, especially when it looked so rough for the second and the third point. Like, just not having much time on the board. But Florida Mayhem, they are the overtime champions. They've done this before in several of their matches, just kind of even in those qualifiers of the Summer Showdown. They're just going to keep putting on the pressure. They perform really well when that is on them. But we're going to switch sides. Florida now on the defense might be able to go for those cheeky strats of that Zenyatta and the Ana if they're feeling it. But the Brig and the Lucio, it was good. The brawl there for Florida, someone with those rampages and everything did so much work. But that's not what we're seeing right now. It is going to be the Zen and the Ana, and Hydron on the Ashe. That flex pick coming out, maybe to shake up the London Spitfire a little bit.
Ashe is just historically... Okay, we'll look at a replay real quick, I suppose. Yeah, see, Checkmate was behind the whole time.
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
They lacked that critical information. You got to look behind you, those blind spots.
I guess London were just trying to overwhelm the Florida Mayhem. They were like, we'll just ignore Checkmate, but yeah. One big right click into a dash. Did hold Sparker from doing any more damage as he was killed off. Yeah, what I was saying was the Ashe is really good against the Genji. You shoot the Genji once or twice, the Hog's not going to work. No, okay. He's backing up. False alarm, everybody. Don't panic.
It was just a quick hook and a grab.
The Dynamite is super good at stopping the Genji from doing much, but also just hitting someone in the body. Forces the Genji back, you have to get a pack. Every single shot from the Ashe does like kind of force one armor pack out. It's worth keeping in mind. Discord Orb on Hadi is going to be a problem if he's in the line of fire of Hydron. Oh dear. Shame Orm's full. Oh, he's fallen again. Good knife. Oh, even better. Hadi cleans Checkmate. That's a really good push, good pick. They're going to be able to push. All they need to do is stop Hydron getting free value. And it's going to be up to Backbone to do so. You can see him on the high ground already. Sermashed can use that kick to boop him away, however.
You really can. You're going to have to see that happen. I mean, Backbone is still going to try to keep everybody from getting back, but also, where's Checkmate? Checkmate's going to still have to come back from spawn, but he's here. Yeah,
he's here just trying to help out Sermashed, who is still on top of Blue Box right now. See that Dynamite stopping Backbone from going up there. It's such a crucial tool in stopping the Genji on the other team getting a lot of value. Everybody from the London Spitfire cowering under the overwhelming presence of the Florida Mayhem DPS. Hydron is getting protected by a deflecting Genji, an Ana at his back, and Sermashed perma-orbing people. Like, he is immortal sitting in server.
Nice try, honey.
It's working out really well for Florida, too. It was cute what London Spitfire were trying to do there. They noticed that Blue Box was just not going to be something they would be able to approach, and so they wanted to mitigate that value from the Zenyatta and the Ana by going into that health pack room. But it didn't work because Florida Mayhem, they got a nice rotation into server, and were able to get that long-range hit scan damage there from Hydron. Backbone gets really low, but they are going to have to take the high ground away from Florida, some way, somehow.
All right, they push someone off of heights. There's the bomb. Oh! Kick squares to the jaw, and a shot from Hydron. See what I mean? How protected Hydron is right now. How do you even deal with that? You've got the Ana right next to you who can nade you. You have Sermashed who can insta-orb you. It's a very, very tough spot for London to try and assault. Like you mentioned, Rose, getting on top of Blue Box is nice, but the time that Florida Mayhem have burned off London is just impeccable right now.
And they still haven't used any ults either. I mean, they used the Bob to just kind of help out with the defense a little bit, but it's not going to be as impactful on this first point.
Nice move, actually. Both Ruble and Hydra now on the floor, and this is the chance for the London Spitfire to push on forward. A Transcendence is going to save them, though. Hydron's got a motorcade around him, keeping him alive. Even a Nano Boost is thrown out. This is the Florida Mayhem holding on to the first point. Backbone is alive as, yeah, Surmashed showing off his skills just a little bit. There's a minute to go, and the London Spitfire unable to crack the defense of Florida.
No, they're not, especially when Checkmate still has a blade available. You know that Admiral just used the sound barrier to try to keep Backbone alive and in this fight. But Checkmate has been so good at getting behind London Spitfire, you kind of don't even know where he's coming from. Does that surprise London? How do they deal with this? Hadi does get the Rampage up, and there's not really a great way for you to deal with that if you're on Florida with the supports that you have. But it's got to be the rally first here for Landon. Build up that overhealth.
Big dynamite, though. See Backbone already having to back off. Blade. Oh, you're in trouble, Backbone. And maybe the London Spitfire in trouble too. Sparker ends up pulling out the overclock and takes care of Checkmate. Can London follow this up with more? Both the supports on the Florida Mayhem are on high ground, so one of them will have to touch in the end. And Hydron just jumps down to the floor, finds 2 picks, but London still managed to cap.
Within all the chaos, yeah, those doors are gonna go ahead and open, but not before Surmashed is gonna take a couple of people with him. But Florida still get a chance to back off, and in the time that London Spitfire are going to come back out of spawn, Florida's gonna take that height away, and this is where Hydron just does so much work and gets so much value. Look at those dynamites right now, just keeping London Spitfire at the door, but also forcing them in a direction where Florida Mayhem are gonna find way more value. Even still, Hydron just gets to throw the Bob out now, and where do London Spitfire actually go to disengage from this?
There's a couple of places, I suppose, but yeah, it's gonna be difficult to say the least. All right, that 3-man wrecking crew. Double support and Hydron on the high ground, looking good so far. Backbone paying a little visit, but Hydron's Bob has come to play. Oh, and a nano onto someone. Those Carnage hits are gonna be powerful. Nice little dagger throw, does connect with Admiral, but he does stay alive.
Stays alive to get the sound barrier online, gets away, gets a chance to taxi London Spitfire back, and they're gonna need all the time that they can get as many fights as possible. They haven't gotten any progress, really, and there's only a minute and a half left because of the overtime that Florida Mayhem took them to for that first point. Surmashed with another Transcendence as well. The perfect response for Backbone's blade.
Oh, 3-man nade, do you see that? RuPaul just at his feet instantly, was expecting Backbone to charge up onto that high ground. Landon, the first casualty of this fight is Admiral uses the beats. Someone does end up falling, but Checkmate just kind of going crazy in the front line. There is a minute to go, and health bars to London Spitfire are dwindling. There is a small crack above you, Backbone. You've got to be careful. He is having to wait for Landon to come back to pack him, and there's only 50 seconds in the bank for London Spitfire right now.
They're gonna have to make their way forward. But Florida get a chance to come back and recontest this one more time. There's gonna be the blade, the Transcendence.
Yep. Just sit there in the Transcendence. Don't need to worry about that anymore. 30 seconds to go. London Spitfire not looking so hot. Unable to break this back line of the Florida Mayhem.
Transcendence is really high value, though, now that it's off the table. Sparker and Hadi right now for London. They gotta crack this open.
Hadi's pretty low, and he's already used Shout as someone finishes him off. Surmashed does end up going down, but a Rampage from someone doesn't connect with anybody at all on the London Spitfire, but Checkmate just cleans him up with his dashes. They're trying to take down Hadi as quick as possible, but they left him. And with a couple of seconds to go, the Florida Mayhem are holding on second. They're not going down without a fight.
Oh boy, I mean, that was a smart choice from Florida. The presence that they had on the high ground made it so difficult for London to even approach them, to get them off. Would have had to throw a lot of resources at it, and just it didn't work. That experience on this map really paying off here for Florida.
All right, a no 3 Overwatch. That's what I like to see. Just more games on LAN. All right, let's jump to a quick break. London Spitfire get to choose their map. See where they want to go after this. Florida Mayhem on the trail of a potential reverse sweep against the London Spitfire. Happened in Hawaii, can maybe happen here. It's London's choice to where we go. For push, and they're taking us to Coliseum.
Gibraltar is where it all started for Florida to get that reverse sweep. Now it's kind of interesting that London Spitfire, with their next map choice, is taking us to the second map of that reverse sweep. A little risky, I feel like, but, you know, London Spitfire, they have a lot of history with particular push maps. I know I'm like teasing it a little bit. I didn't want to give it away before we saw the map set. We're going to Coliseum, everybody.
I already said, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, I mean, this is also where London kind of made their name too, right? On the Coliseum.
Sparkers, Soldier 76.
Soldier 76, the Sojourn, the May, of course, with the London Spitfire. So we'll see how Florida may end up faring. If Hydron continues to find these early picks with Railgun, or even just switch over to the Ash, maybe. I mean, the Ash with the double flex sport kind of went crazy on Gibraltar. It was hard. It was, well, it wasn't hard. It was impossible for Backbone to do anything.
I will say about when we're looking at the double flex support on the Ash, it's a little bit harder to play it on a push map or on control because you just don't have the same disengage tools as you would with the Lucio, and you don't have that same brawl potential if you don't have the Brig.
Let's go.
Sparker's mom liked your tweet. Good.
That's what you want.
Probably had a good tweet then. Love
Parental approval.
I like we're getting some love though. We got RuPaul signed there for RuPaul and for Sparker.
Yeah, it's good to see the fan turn out. Sign's always great, honestly.
Sign game has been on point for this land, by the way.
It is. That's very true. It's very true.
Cody coming back. Oh, hey.
A few London fans in the audience, I'm sure. Same with the Mayhem.
Was Hottie doing some push-ups?
Maybe. Like I said, maybe that's what gives them power. I'm not sure. They want to take this series so they can face Toronto Defiant again.
Hey, maybe this was a gentleman's sweep, right? I learned that term. Thank you, Call of Duty. Giving a map over to Florida and then kind of still getting the 3 map
Gentleman's sweep. Yeah, courteous. Like, look, you know,
Yeah,
you take a map,
you
that's
have
fine.
one.
You have one.
Ah, look at Chatty
Chatty
Diff.
Diff.
Chatty Diff.
I mean, if you look back at map number 1, like, Chatty was different someone a fair bit on the Junker Queen. It was tough for someone to really get much stuff done. You could say, oh yeah, sure, that's a lot of that's down to the Mei play from London, but still.
Well, I mean, the walls do help set up, but at the end of the day, Hadi is still one of the leading Junker Queens when it comes to that wound, and as well as just those rampage kills, and the knife accuracy has been absolutely insane from Hadi during the Junker Queen meta. But we are going to Colosseo. This is, again, second map where Florida kind of got the reverse sweep started. Gibraltar was the first one, Colosseo was the second. But London, yeah, the history with them on this map has just been ridiculous. They started all the flanks.
Yeah. I'm not going to miss the DPS speed up pass.
No?
No. I don't want Soldier 76 being in the back line 24/7. It's pretty
No, but now
scary.
you get
But now we
Zenyatta in the
Genji.
back line.
Or yeah, sure, the Zen, yeah, that is true.
Gotta watch out. Or if you're Twilight, then it's Twilight's Brig in the back
Yeah, or
line.
the Brig in the back line. Yeah, that is true. Lander's doing a pretty good on the Brig so far. He's been popping up with the kill feed a lot. We got a couple of little replays there too. It's funny seeing Brig replays because it's just holding M1 and then W. And you're swinging and you're doing a lot. But still, like getting in people's faces and getting that many kills feels pretty good.
Well, I mean, you were saying too that watching the Brigida's evolution over the course of this meta has been really cool because there's so many high-key techs that these Brigs can go for. Like, they understand the physics of the flail, the whip shot, and the shield bash, like how much distance you can really get with those abilities, so what you can reach. But
it's super important, like knowing how far you can bash and like the whip shot range, like you said.
Exactly.
We're seeing a lot of like good whip shot plays, either like disengages or like going for kills. It's extremely important to know the exact meterage of the flail. All right, how long is it going to take to get a kill?
Yeah,
Who's your bet on?
we're starting.
Betting on 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes?
A minute.
A minute.
I'll
Okay.
give you 30 more seconds to get a
Or,
pick.
well, no ashes either, so yeah, it's going to take a little while. It's just Sojourn's waiting for a railgun shot, or a Genji, or a Lucio mispositioning.
Anything. Just anything. All right, Hadi's getting a little stuck in the corner, so if Checkmate seizes an opportunity, you can just kind of go in, play off of these walls, and get those dash resets.
That was close. Oh! It was exactly on a minute. You got it right. That was perfect.
I get a cookie.
You do indeed. There are plenty in the green room. I'm sure you can pick one of those up later. All right, Hadi going pretty low. Oh my goodness, somehow someone ends up pushing in alone. Didn't have any healers to back him up. You can see only now is RuPaul just poking his head around the corner. It's a trade, but losing your Junker Queen like that, not good. You can see London now pressing at the issue, pushing forward.
London still, I mean, despite the fact that Florida Mayhem were able to get that first pick, they still are giving so much respect to the Spitfire. In fact, Spitfire gonna go ahead and take over the meterage. But I'm looking at the fact that Checkmate and Hydron have pumped so much damage in.
Hydron again. Oh, he is so good. He was one of the better Sojourns when the hero first started getting playtime. And he's trying to continue that trend. You see why Florida Mayhem want to play him right now. Is the London Spitfire going to have to back out. Pretty good disengagement, though, from London. Oh, Backbone's in trouble. He does get shield bash, but he does dash away. He doesn't stun anymore, of course. Just moves you back just a little bit. As Hydron working up towards his first ultimate, that overclock way quicker than Sparkus. He's 30% away, and Hydron's a couple of percentage points. But look at London now, trying to turn the tides, the tempo very much in their favor, as they are splitting up the Florida Mayhem right now.
Are they expecting the also from Florida's DPS?
Rally coming out already from the London Spitfire, as well as that beat. They don't even care about Checkmate's play at this point. And the Florida Mayhem, not really getting too much stuff done. Later rally from the Florida Mayhem. They know London don't have any support onto us to back them up now. There's even Checkmate trying to get some damage in, but Sparker and Backbone refusing to go down without a fight. Backbone now pulling the blade. Surmashed beat still online. Is he going to use it, or is he going to be selfish with it? He's going to be selfish with it, and it's going to work out. Hydron takes care of Backbone as the Florida Mayhem, just iron wills, still holding on to that sound barrier. Both Brigittas trading, but London Spitfire splitting themselves up, but it might not matter. How did that Rampage not hit? Oh no! Surmashed! He gets pooped, but it doesn't matter. It's all good. Oh my god, my heart was racing.
I wasn't really sure what was going to happen there. We just saw Zermashik with like 10 seconds.
I was ready for an Ajax.
I was
ready for an Ajax.
God. I was like, oh, okay, we can all relax. Everything is good now. Someone has the Rampage. And Florida, I mean, look at the time that was built off the clock though right now, 3.5 minutes.
That was potentially the messiest fight I've seen. I'm going to be real.
Long.
I'm going to be real. I'm going to do some Matt Mr. X Morello analysis there. That was a messy fight. Anyway, carry on.
All right. I mean, Sparker, with just that toe over the line there, Florida going to be able to work on that. But the Rampage.
Rampage catches Sparker and landed. Sparker goes down to that bleed and someone just marches forward. Easy clean up for Checkmate. Florida Mayhem looking good. They're going to push up on the high ground now.
Checkmate's going to have another blade? Excuse me? Checkmate and Hydron just used these DPS ults like 2 fights ago, and they're already going to be back online before Admiral and Landon this time around can actually get those support ults. It didn't really matter last time. It prolonged the fights enough that we got to this point where there was 6.5 minutes left, but all of a sudden, here it comes.
There's the blade in the spawn room. No chance for London to escape this. The plane comes crashing down as Checkmate finds 2 kills. Both the DPS right now from the Florida Mayhem just gapping the London Spitfires in terms of damage. Checkmate and Hydron setting up on the high ground. The checkpoint has been unlocked. Butt scratch mode initiated, and the London Spitfire reeling. And even a rally from London to try and get out of this spawn hold. Someone's taken down eventually. But London, they have to use ults right now. The Florida Mayhem are more than happy to to just back off, just die, go again, whatever. As long as you don't burn that rally, you know you got it for the next fight. Admiral's got beat. This is a really weird situation for that Lucio to be in because Checkmate just used that blade.
I know, but I mean, look at the fact that you can just go ahead and in this long corridor, Hydron's gonna have that overclock that he saved up. So you just gotta get free reign over the Spitfire right now, and that forces out the beat too.
Hydron peeking a little bit, looking for a 100 charge shot before he may have overclocks his gun. All right, London still trying to force the issue, but you've got to look out for Hydron. Blade for Backbone. Hydron slides away as RuPaul, with an iron will, still holding on to the rally. Backbone's blade got absolutely nothing done. The Florida Mayhem now pushing on forwards. They know they got the support ults that they need to make this fight theirs.
Uses the sound barrier first. Oh, Admiral doesn't have it anymore.
Oh, he didn't Ajax, so they got it for the next fight, but their lives cut pretty damn short. There's 4 minutes to go, and the Florida Mayhem just working the London Spitfire in the neutral right now.
Oh my god, the patience though from Florida, it's really paying off here. RuPaul had that rally to be able to get Florida that team fight win, and now as this bot moves forward, yeah, you can just go ahead and have Hydron escort that around the corner to that line.
There's the beat from the London Spitfire, as RuPaul's the first target, a later beat from Florida Mayhem. They still want to win this one. It's a 4v5. Hardy got the first kill, and as someone, yeah, he was looking like he wanted to retreat to London Spitfire spawn there. Still getting a couple of extra meters. It's good for Florida. London are going to have to win, what, 3 fights maybe to equal that meterage?
Yeah, definitely, and when Checkmate has the blade up as well, he's been finding, what, like 2-3 picks right now with each Dragon Blade. His efficiency right now is 1.5. That's really high for Genjis in this meta. And so you gotta see that converted back over, and there's no response right now from London unless they draw this out long enough for Landon to get that rally on.
London going pretty low again, but now Hydron gets a taste of his own medicine as Sparker hits him with a railgun. The Florida Mayhem still willing to fight, though. There's the play. Sparker's in trouble. Someone's got to save him. They're not quite quick enough. But Checkmate just, like, how is he still getting value with these blades? There's so many boosts from London, but he's saving those dashes to the last possible moment. The London Spitfires still have that Junker Queen alive and well, but now Landon is in trouble and they're completely split up. Checkmate with the dash, can he get the kill? The shield has also been destroyed. Admiral saves him with a boop onto Checkmate, but they're just now tussling in the middle once again. It's basically a complete reset here, Rose.
You gotta see someone as well just kind of posturing for a position to use this Rampage. And if you're not careful, there's a really nice straightaway for someone to just kind of set him up to knock him down. Let's see if he gets a strike.
Rampage from someone hits absolutely no one. The London Spitfire, they just use that speed boost to move past it and take care of the brig. The bottom's been stolen. by someone who swings at people with the axe. He does manage to land 2 blows with the axe, so a little bit of healing from the adrenaline boost there, but doesn't end up saving him. But all the Florida Mayhem are doing, Rose, is just burning down that time bank. There's 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, and London are no way near the meterage that Mayhem have got.
Mayhem can just keep the lead. That's what they're playing for right now, is just to keep the meterage lead. London have to back up a little bit as Florida Mayhem come back out of these spawns, but you know they're going to be going in with the blade very shortly here.
Yeah, they're all tracking well enough. They know Sermajet doesn't have that beat. And this might be a bit of a free blade for Backbone. He does pull it, dash up the stairs, but he didn't actually look around the corner to see where everybody was lining up for. So Bait gets 1 slice on Hydra, but he receives a small girl Scout Cookie and gets healed on up. And now the Florida Mayhem using that rally to push forward. Spitfire with a beat in kind as they dash to the spawn, but someone just cleans them up. There's nothing they can do with the 50 seconds to go. The London Spitfire, they may be taken to a map number 5.
I think they're going to be. Right now, Florida, they can keep these fights going long enough that Sermajet's going to have that sound barrier. And Sparker has been getting focused down so much. London just not looking behind them. Somebody from Florida has been constantly going into the back to harass them, and they just aren't turning their attention.
I mean, it's 25 seconds to go, and the bot is on London's side of the map right now. They've only got that overclock. Hadi's close to the...
He's dead.
Don't have overclock anymore. Might not have Hadi freeze the rampage. It does hit 3. This is London's chance to turn this one around. But look, the target focus from Florida Mayhem is just so good, and the bot is being stolen. London Spitfire need to also touch the bot to trigger overtime, but Checkmate is playing bouncer. Backbone super low, no deflect, no dash. Checkmate takes him out. The London Spitfire have gone down. Map number 5 on the cards, but no, Admiral touches. Okay, we're not out of this just yet, but the Florida Mayhem still have control. Sermajet and someone needs to be taken down before London can see themselves with a chance on this map, but it's not going to happen. The Florida Mayhem looking to repeat history as they take London to a map number 5.
This is where it's all gonna go wrong here for London, maybe? Florida tying up the series, and this is now 2 maps in a row that they have won on the reverse sweep that happened before. History literally could repeat itself here. But London, they got 1 more chance to pick a map, 1 more chance to potentially take the series home and get that rematch versus the Toronto Defiant.
My word. All right, London, once again, their chance to pick the map. We've had so many historical matches. Yeah, London want to get to Toronto so they can beat him a 3rd time in a row, right? Florida Mayhem looking to deny that. The 8th seed coming in, taking down the London Spitfire, who looks so impressive coming out of the qualifiers. We're going to jump to a quick break. We'll see where we go after this. A little bit of deja vu for the London Spitfire. Got reverse swept in Hawaii, Rose. The Florida Mayhem looking to do the exact same thing again. We are going on to Ilios as our last map. Sea spirits are still pretty high in the London camp by the looks of it. Still smiles on the faces. Got to be confident going in. You cannot let this get to your head.
No, I mean, London got sent home last time, but it's got to be about that iron mental, that's for sure. At least that third map in the trifecta, Oasis is off the board already. So they get to go to a map that might not be so reminiscent of what happened in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, Ilios is that map. Florida Mayhem right now, like I said, coming in at 8th seed. They can upset London, send them home. Remember, loser of this match does get a one-way ticket back to their hometown.
I feel like Florida Mayhem, this happens a lot in tournaments. They come in, very underrated, coming in maybe at a lower seed, but they still perform very, very well. But a lot of it today has been just an adjustment of going around and surprising London Spitfire. Someone needs to be an owl on London Spitfire. No, literally, like just turn your head around. Be a lookout, please.
Yeah, Checkmate.
Please.
Checkmate and Hydron have both had individual pop-off moments throughout this entire series. We are going to Ruins as our first map in Ilios.
I
Very
worry
good
about
map
that.
for Hydron right now.
Exactly.
Him and Sparker, it's not really been the most even head-to-head of all time. Hydron is coming out on top more often than not against Sparker Sojourn. And at the start of that push map on Colosseo, like both Checkmate and Hydron were just outpacing Backbone and Sparker on the damage and, you know, subsequently the ultimate charge.
Yeah, but even on top of that too, Admiral and Landon couldn't keep up with the pace either. So you never had a good answer on London Spitfire to the damage output of Hydron and Checkmate. On Ruins as well, you already mentioned that Hydron's been having a good game, but when you have those long sight lines, especially on such a hit scan oriented map with these straightaways, I would be worried if I were London Spitfire on how well Hydron will perform. We're gonna see the teleporter strategy coming out from Florida as Hydron switches back over to the Sojourn and locking into that pick. And that does allow Florida Mayhem to make it to that mega health pack before London Spitfire, but Hottie's gonna have to take that.
Yeah, he just takes it away, it's all good. Teleport didn't really mean much of anything there. London Spitfire just on the point. It's a bit frustrating though, if you do take the point first, you are on low ground and the DPS can just kind of peek over the top and fire a couple of shots down at you. Got to be careful, Landon and Admiral can get a lot of boot kills. Controlling this mega health pack is pretty damn good if you are trying to cut that point, and London going to do just that.
Going to, but Florida Mayhem paying a lot of respect here, waiting for some of those cooldowns to come back online before they re-engage. And look at the placement that Hydron has right now on the map. They're just going to go ahead and take that Widow Nest that we usually see.
Ooh! Wow, Backbone gets taken out by the Brig. That point almost getting flipped over. Can London just stall this out for a little bit longer? They can. Admiral's on the point, but the rest of his team have fallen around him already. Florida Mayhem with a quick kill onto Backbone will get the flip.
Well, that's what Florida Mayhem was waiting for. Somebody on London Spitfire to get out of position so that they could take them out. Sparker's got to be careful. You really don't want to get staggered out here. Backbone too, though, has been kind of going in by himself, trying to harass the front line to kind of turn the attention to him. He's been playing bait a little bit, but it's not been working out for him so far.
Look at this
Florida Mayhem with the hop.
Florida Mayhem trying to split the rest of the London Spitfire. Spitfire are playing as 5 and do manage to make it to the point, almost flipping sides. Can the cap come through? Doesn't look like it. Florida Mayhem put themselves on there. Stop the complete cap. Oh, you got a touch. No, Florida Mayhem let the point go and actually lose their Brig in the process. Both Lucians have that sound barriers. Now the Florida are trying to pressure the points. But no, it's Backbone getting the resets with the help of his team. Just netting London some additional percent that they wouldn't otherwise have had.
London Spitfire are winning these fights when they stick together. When they try to get fancy, try to get somebody to go on a flank, Florida Mayhem capitalize that and isolate out that person and get that target focus on them. That's why they've been able to win out a lot of these fights on Florida's side, just having those 5 versus 4 advantages. But someone is gonna wait for that commanding shot to come back online, and they're gonna bum rush the London Spitfire here before maybe even Backbone gets a chance to use this blade.
Yep, first ult fight. There's the rallies, there's the... Oh, checkmate! Oh my word! Backbone completely shut down the Florida Mayhem, making that one hurt.
Yeah, Hottie's gonna have to get a quick reset here. London able to walk away with quite a bit of charge, but yikes! Backbone just kind of get taken out like a fruit in the sky. Checkmate though did have to use a blade there, rally as well for the engagement tool on Florida. So we at least have a little bit of an icon advantage here for London, but Florida playing so aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Rampage. They can set this one up pretty easily. Rally for the London Spitfire, and they still have Beat in their back pocket. Beautiful stun, and an Ajax too. Admiral loses Beat. The Florida Mayhem. This is LAN. This ain't a scrim. The London Spitfire have already got one ultimate to come back into this next fight, and Sermajed still has that Beat.
I know, they can just keep playing up against the spawn doors of London. They're gonna back up a little bit. They want to be able to give some space over to London, just being respectful of the fact that Hadi does have this Rampage online. Since they've been paying attention, but Sparker's already so low.
Your boy Sermajed ain't respectful, that's for sure. Here with the Ajax and the all chat. Oh, someone, little bit out of position. There comes the Beat. They're tough as Woodpecker Lips now. A nice anti onto someone, Sermajed and Hydron, but still that overhealth helping them out, helping them survive this fight. Florida Mayhem on the last ditch attempt at holding on to the points. Not going to end up working out as Hadi cleans up, but they're still on 99% as London is going to get the flip in just a moment, I promise. Or maybe I don't promise. Hang on a second. I'm going to spoken a little bit too soon. There comes the rally. RuPaul coming in. Overhealth building up. Sparker and Backbone need to do something here because that overhealth is keeping someone alive on the point. RuPaul going melee mode. He pushes Hadi straight towards the health bag, but he didn't need it. The flip comes through from London Spitfire as both Junker Queens end up going down. A bit more of a vanilla fight now as there's no ults available apart from Checkmate's blade.
You sure? He might just go in.
He might as well. He dashes into the wall, straight into the open arms of the London Spitfire, and he takes it with ease. Both GPS from London are now dead as the Florida Mayhem look to find that flip.
They're gonna get that flip too, and just like that, I don't think London Spitfire can come back into this one.
RuPaul takes care of Atmore as overtime ticks down. London feeling a bit of deja vu. One more round, and the Florida Mayhem will send London packing.
Oh my gosh, Florida. Just so many instances in that first round where they didn't let London use their ults. Backbone getting sliced out of the sky. Admiral getting Ajax, that sound barrier just not able to come through. We're going to Lighthouse. London Spitfire using this map as a comeback mechanism, and Lighthouse is one of their best rounds, especially when Sparker can get set up, but Florida's not letting that happen right now. Blade Ajax ×6. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, no.
I mean, the nerves might be getting to London right now. It was all smiles when we jumped to the player cams in the break. But you're one round away from going home, getting reverse swept by the Florida Mayhem. Jump onto Lighthouse. Jesus.
Sparker needs to find value. Well, there's one pick.
It's a good start. This is what London were doing in the first two maps, setting their own tempo of play. So they just run down Hydron. Florida Mayhem more than happy to fight 4v5. We've seen that many times before. In fact, a lot of teams more than happy to do that. London find the first cap of this round.
Now they get a chance to get set up too. London can play a really good defense here, as long as they don't get too split up. And Florida seems to always know when Backbone is by himself. Doesn't have that support from that back line, but he's gonna have to give it over now. Backbone's gotta help out the front.
Yeah, the homie's coming in clutch there for the Florida Mayhem. You saw Hadi trying to step up, trying to isolate someone. Didn't end up working out. And in fact, London are forced back to the point. Backbone spots out Hydron, gives him the call, and you see instantly Checkmate dashing over to him, forcing cooldowns from the Genji. And London's actually the first casualty of this fight. The London Spitfire have so little heals now. It's all too easy for someone and the rest of the gang to clean up. London Spitfire end up form. They get decent percent, what, 39, almost 40? You take that. Another neutral fight coming up, though, Rose. No ults available just yet. Admiral's the closest at 75% towards that beat.
Yeah, I mean, the beat's not going to matter too much right now. It's still a little bit far away unless we see a quick pick from London. Hadi, Admiral still finding their marks with a lot of these picks. And if London as well can funnel Florida into a room where Landon's going to get that inspired healing, maybe, but Hydron's looking for the pick.
That was a super nice shot. Okay, Backbone's full HP. I was going to say that's the go time, really. You force those armor packs out from the Briggs. By just getting these body shots, you can just run down the enemy team. Oh, Hydron. Oh, that lined up for him there. There's the beat from the London Spitfire to try and make this one hurt. The Florida Mayhem just no ultimates online. They're just overwhelmed with the overhealth. I mean, stalling out is also pretty nice. Almost 50% it will be as Checkmate gets back onto the point. As London do win, but he had to use that beat.
I think that's okay though, because London is putting a lot of confidence into Backbone and Sparker with their DPS ult on the board to get something done. Landon as well is gonna have that rally, that overhealth. Just start building that up. Maybe you don't have to worry about the DPS ult from Florida too, but Florida's been so patient. They might have a full 5 for this fight.
Yeah, just take a fight, get that blade out. Speaking of blades, Backbone's pulled his already. Look, they're trying to isolate the Mayhem again. And with RuPaul dead, maybe Florida Mayhem end up backing up. With a Brig, it looks very unlikely you're going to be able to win that. However, looking at the percent bank, Rose, 75. With your Brig coming back, like, this is really one-fight territory, but Florida Mayhem have 5 ults.
Yeah, they can overwhelm here, that's for sure. I mean, Sparker might pop the overclock too, just to keep Florida at bay.
Hardy is so low. Dashes around the corner, Checkmate pulls the blade. A perfect beat from the Florida Mayhem to stop that anti from doing anything. Landon isolated from the rest of London. There's no packs to really go around. He does jump back down to the fight, but there's too much health to heal up as Checkmate cleans too. And someone from Florida Mayhem capped in the middle of this chaos. Okay, Sir Machete comes back with a couple of kills of his own. London Spitfire on final fight, 94%. But the Florida Mayhem, more importantly, have saved 2 key ultimates for this next one.
Yeah, I mean, Florida didn't have to use everything there, and so that's something that London Spitfire should be worried about. They wanted to get more ultimates out of Florida here, and when someone has that rampage, you know something big is about to go down. We're entering final fight here, Jaws. Can Florida Mayhem do it? The reverse sweep on the cards.
They just need this one round. Every ult being thrown out. That's an absolutely ginormous rampage from someone. The health bar's ticking down. Sparker's not afraid, though. He steps up to the plate, trying to land these overclock kills. He almost takes down Hydron. In fact, Backbone ends up following up. Florida Mayhem still control the point, mind you. And they can stall this out for a little bit longer. London Spitfire make it there. And now with 95%, someone from Mayhem has to touch. It looks like it's going to be Sir Machete. Gets booped away. Can he get onto the point? No, he cannot. London Spitfire taking us to a round number 3 in map number 5.
This is as close as it gets. These rounds in control have been so back and forth. Oasis at the start, a really good example of that, but well. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at RuPaul and I'm looking at Landon on those breaks, just getting those flails, getting those shield bashes. Both teams gonna try to stay away from that pit in the middle. They don't want to see what's at the bottom of the well.
With the way Landon right now is playing, yeah. Can they stop history from repeating itself? I mean, if you're Mayhem, your confidence just oozing right now.
Teleporter strat once again from Florida. They really like utilizing this because it means that they get a chance to save that commanding shot for later.
Yeah, they make it to cage first. All right, what you got? Someone and Hardy just, yeah, literally on top of each other right now, just exchanging axe blows. But it's actually the flail from Landon will start off the fight for the London Spitfire. They do trade their own Brig. Damage almost permanent now. The Florida Mayhem with good target focus. An incredibly scrappy fight to begin with. The Florida Mayhem, however, are still capping that point. Yeah, get out of there, Hydron. You don't really belong here right now, not with Backbone guarding this door. Checkmate, if he can just stall for as long as possible on this point. Oh, 9 HP, it's not going to happen. A nice little right hook from Checkmate will end his life in what looked like a good start from the London Spitfire. Turns on his head completely with Florida Mayhem capping. Oh, what a boop! Oh! Knife pull and a boop. Lands and isolated completely, and now Florida Mayhem could just press this issue.
Oh, look at that too. I mean, Sparker's so low. Hottie goes down. This is a huge stagger here. This Florida Mayhem are starting to work up to that percentage, that round win, that series win. Hydron and Checkmate. Look at how much work they've been putting into these fights so far. Jack, it's crazy. They're both 15% away from having the overclock, having the blade. Admiral's got to get this beat online, but London Spitfire just even has to get back to the point. Florida Mayhem are not letting that happen. Backbone, reset.
Yep, he was on the point. Haha, not anymore. That's a lot of time wasted. And Checkmate, he was 15% towards the blade. He's 100% now. Are they going to force this? Look at London Spitfire right now, all backing up. They're lining up for Checkmate. A nice beat. Checkmate with 15 armor packs thrown at him to keep him alive. London Spitfire still managed to overwhelm the Mayhem's front line. But with 50%, Florida Mayhem still feeling pretty good.
Get that too.
Oh,
They
did
just
someone
have
get booped? No. All good.
No, just a disruptor shot, a quick pick. Sparker back on the board. It was just the sound barrier as
Almost
well.
70% Rose.
That's so much. I mean, if Florida Mayhem are able to come back into this one with the double support ultimates too, all they've gotten rid of is the blade. And London Spitfire right now don't really have enough to contend with this one unless they pop the rally now and are able to convert Backbone and Sparker's ultimates to picks. But they have a tall mountain to climb here, Jack, to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself.
All eyes on Backbone's blade. He's got to be able to force one of those support ultimates from the Mayhem. Hydron opening up this fight with an overclock. Dashes back to the rest of his team. And once again, just unbelievable presence of mind from the Florida Mayhem. They don't use either support ultimate for that blade.
They don't need to. They know the patience. They know that they can get away from it. The confidence is there. Someone trying to line up for this Rampage right now.
There's Sparker. He's got that overclock of his own. Those snipes are pretty good. The Rampage is even better. Hardy and Sparker bleeding to death. The Florida Mayhem with an overwhelming support advantage managed to wipe the London Spitfire. It's only landed on the point and he used the rally to try and turn that one. The Florida Mayhem now one fight away from repeating history.
Checkmate. Admiral, they are racing each other right now to get these ultimates online. But even still, it's kind of a clean slate for everybody. It's gonna be more of a neutral fight. Any pick though, Hottie looking low. They gotta go touch.
RuPaul, he's good. Someone going pretty low. Admiral takes him out. There's the neutral fight one for London Spitfire, or maybe not one just yet. Yeah, okay. 3 dead, almost 4. So much yet trying for a couple of sneaky boops, but ain't gonna happen. Backbone comes up with 4 kills in that fight. They do find the flip in the neutral, but still, Mayhem, 99%.
It's gonna be last fight territory though. Jack, it all comes down to this. Admiral has a sound barrier as the perfect response for Checkmate's blade. But what is going to come up after that? Now it's gonna be a race between Backbone and Hydron unless we see a first pick here. But it all comes down to this final fight. Who's gonna win this series?
Checkmate Blade versus Admiral Beat. They can Ajax him again, they should be good. Blade has been pulled, there's the boop. Admiral successfully lands the beat. All that overhealth building up and Checkmate knows his time is done. He has to back out.
Now it's on Hydron. Hydron maybe getting the overclock. London getting aggressive though.
An aggressive push straight onto the backline. RuPaul ends up going down. London Spitfire now just trying to erase the Florida Mayhem. They've got 95% as Hydron comes up clutch. 1 kill with the overclock as they try to guard. Another Admiral dead. There's no speed boost for London Spitfire. Florida Mayhem, they're going to try and just force London off of the point. Backbone is here with 8% towards that blade, but he ends up going down. Checkmate comes up big. Sparker kills one on Hydron, but it's not going to matter at all. History really does repeat itself with a kill onto Admiral. Landon with no rally and London with no hope. The Florida Mayhem make sure history repeats itself with a reverse sweep.
Someone celebrating. That's what we expect to see from the tank of Florida Mayhem. Absolutely coming up clutch. That last map, though, was so close between these two teams. But they gave us a good show, and it's going to be Florida Mayhem going up against Toronto Defiant later today.
London really wanted their chance at revenge there against the Toronto Defiant, or not revenge, just carry on the beating, I guess, of the Toronto Defiant. But the Florida Mayhem stopped them in their tracks, a reverse sweep. I mean, that's just got to weigh on you a whole bunch. Still friends at the end of the day, of course. Hugs all around. And it's definitely tough. Like you said, Rose, they went to maps that they got reversed, like the reverse sweep started on. Like, that's got to weigh on your mind a little bit. Even if you say it doesn't, like, it's in the back of your brain, just lurking, waiting. And the Florida Mayhem took full advantage of that.
Yeah, Gibraltar, Colosseo, those are both maps that the reverse sweep happened on for both reverse sweeps that we've seen so far. Helios, though, very, very close, but someone leading the charge there. The aggression from the Florida Mayhem just too overwhelming for the Spitfire to deal with, and even the harassment in the backline too. Sometimes London Spitfire just didn't know what hit him.
Man, someone is such a character. It's always good to see him on stage. I think we've got a small interview down on the stage, though. It's Danny. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Josh. What's up, everybody? Danny Lim here with... Hi, Chakmei!
Hello.
From
Hello.
That was a crazy series. How are you feeling right now? 지금 일단 소감 말씀 부탁드릴게요. 지금 굉장히 좀 감정이 많이 올라와 있을 것 같은데 어떠신가요?
너무 좋아요.
너무 좋아요?
네.
All right. He just simply said it just feels great to win. Yeah, and I bet it does. Also because this was a crazy reverse sweep for the Florida Mayhem. So, you know, like what adjustments did you guys make after map 2 going into map 3? 또 방금 말씀하셨다시피 기분이 좋았던 이유 중에 제일 큰 이유가 제가 봤을 때는 아무래도 역수입이기 때문이 아닐까 싶습니다. 어떻게 이제 두 번째 세트가 끝나고 세 번째 세트에 들어가면서 좀 어떤 조정을 하셨나요?
저희가 너무 약간 빨려 들어가는 그림이 많이 나와서 상대가 궁 쓸 때 먼저 스피드로 빼고 그 다음 저희 턴을 잡는 식으로 바꿨습니다.
So there were a lot of instances where I felt like our teams were getting dragged in or sucked into London Spitfire. So we wanted to take the initiative where we speed in and to go in that way and to sort of turn around the fight that way. So those were the changes that we made going into map 3 and get the win against London Spitfire. All right, so let's talk about your next match, which is happening after our third match. You guys will be going against the home crowd, Toronto Defiant. Chuck, wait, do you think it's gonna be an easy win? 어떻게 마지막 경기 오늘 이제 토론토와의 경기가 하나 더 남아 있습니다. 오늘 좀 쉽게 이길 것 같으신가요? 토론토와 경기가?
네, 토론토 오늘 경기한 거 봤는데 그냥 관중분들이 다 해주시고 플레이적으로는 딱히 잘한다는 걸 못 느껴서 아마 다음 경기에서도 쉽게 이기지 않을까 싶습니다.
I honestly feel like after watching Toronto's match today, I got the feeling that it was all the fans that did the work. Play-wise, the Toronto team really didn't have much to give. So I do feel like it is going to be an easy win for the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody, give it up for Chuckmate. Thank you so much. And again, big congratulations
Thank you.
on the win. With that being said, Jaws and Necra, back to you guys.
Thank you, Danny. And Checkmate, of course. Yeah, fighting words. And, you know, the crowd was behind Florida Mayhem at the very end there. They're probably not going to be behind them when they face Toronto a little bit later.
I heard those boos.
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I love that.
The spice, though.
You love to hear it, honestly. That's one of the best things, I think, about having a LAN like this and having the home team make it as far as they've done. Like, yeah, the crowd fully in their favor. There will definitely be sprinklings of Florida Mayhem fans in the crowd, but we'll see how many of them there are and how loud they are a little bit later on. Let's have a look at player of the match, though. We have Hydron from this series. Yeah, his Sojourn, even at the very beginning, it looked great, Rose. Like, his head-to-head with Sparker was just completely one-sided. Like, he was getting so many picks, and it wasn't even just on the rest of his team. It was, like, mainly on Sparker.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Sojourn versus Sojourn can be so difficult, but it's not even that. It's Hydron's flexibility. That Ashe pick on Gibraltar to kick off the reverse sweep on the defense was absolutely massive. Those dynamites just getting so much value, and then you ended up seeing just Hydron really starting to feel himself as he got these huge picks, huge denials from ultimates as well, and constantly opening up these fights for Florida Mayhem to take with those quick first picks.
Hey, it looked pretty good. 51 railgun accuracy, not bad. Just take that any day of the week. And now it's a little bit of preparation before that final game tonight. We have one more game just before that. That is the Dallas Fuel and the San Francisco Shock. Another two fan favorites, but oh boy, look. At the end of the day, Florida just played. They went to map number 5, so they are warmed up. That is for sure. Toronto Defiant are laying in wait. Have to wait and see how the next match turns out, though. It's the Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock. We're going to take a quick break, though. We'll be right back.
Let's fucking go, boys. Let's fucking go. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.